listening to my friend Gary Anderson on Night Dreams Talk Radio, the best in paranormal radio.
Well, John, I don't know about that, but I think I do better than that, that hotel you ran out of the UK. Anyway, Trump today says, it's going to be as many as 15,000 troops going to be sent to the border. Well, originally it was 2,500, then it was 5,000, then it was 9,000, then it was 10,000, now it's 15,000. Well, let's see if it hits 20,000. You never know the way it's going. Well, the stock market lost in October $2 trillion. Wow, how many Skittles can you buy for $2 trillion? And boy, would that have helped the economy. Well, it's gone. It's evaporated. Well, also in the news, 2 generations of humans, our last 2 generations, or I should say this generation and the prior generation, have managed to kill off more than half of the world's wildlife. Ooh, that is bad. Cutting out all those trees in the Amazon and, just everything else they keep doing. And as we keep expanding and the earth changes and all the pollution, I guess it is killing off animals. Anyway, we're going to have Samantha Richie right on after this.
Please check out the Night Dreams Talk Radio website at www.nightdreamstalkradio.com. Also, if you want to keep our show free of advertising, just hit the donate button. Give $1 or $2. Remember, all prior shows are always free to listen to. We at Night Dreams Talk Radio thank you for your support.
Well, Samantha, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing fine.
Well, I'm glad you are. I'm still barely walking, but I'm hopefully in about the next couple of weeks I'll be back to my normal self, or I can get on my motorcycle. Well, it's going to be raining. Well, maybe this spring I'll be on my motorcycle. So what are we going to be talking about tonight, Samantha?
Well, just since I've been on last time, we're going to talk about some of the things that I've discovered over the past few months up here in the Cascades. I continue to go to certain areas and continue to get some excellent results of certain things showing up in photos and things of that nature.
Oh, wow.
And we're going to talk about that a little bit, and we're going to have kind of a surprise topic after we get done talking about that.
Well, that sounds interesting. I mean, what part of the Cascades are we talking about?
We are up probably really close to the Crystal Mountain Ski Resort area.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I know that area pretty well.
Yep, backside of Mount Rainier here.
So what have you been finding going on up there?
Well, actually, what I'm finding is just an ever-increasing interactions, ever-increasing incidences while we've been camping. And they've been coinciding, of course, when I take pictures, I'm seeing more and more different beings. Of course, I am picking up a lot of the little people now, but I am also picking up some of the larger ones that I consider Sasquatch, that seem to frequent certain areas. It seems like the more we go to those areas, the more activity we have there. There's 2 different areas that I go to. So one area in particular I'll just mention briefly that I camped out. We had our first camp out in May of this year.
Okay.
And I camped right in this place I call the Fortress. And being pitch black because the moon wasn't out at all, I woke up about 2 o'clock in the morning. It was pitch black. I thought maybe I was blind because I couldn't see anything in the tent. And within a few minutes, I started seeing light, the crackling of light on one side of the tent. And then it encompassed the top of the tent and the sides of the tent, almost like a headlight, very strong headlight that was coming down the road, breaking through the trees, and then reflecting, of course, on your tent. But it was completely silent. There was nothing out there, nothing whatsoever. These lights completely surrounded the tent for a short while. So I laid there and watched it. I don't know if I dozed for a second or whatever, but as I was laying on the cot, I was facing up, and then off to my peripheral, to my right, which was where I was right next to the tent material, not the screen of the tent, just tent material itself. I saw this glowing white coming, so I turned and looked, and it was an immensely glowing white ball of light just outside the tent material. It was near the ground, and it stayed there for, seems like 45 seconds. I didn't want to get up. I didn't want to move around. Didn't want to try to go outside. I was afraid it would go away. Didn't have time to even really take a picture of it. So I was really kind of enjoying the experience. And as I watched this, it slowly, it was there stationary, and then started moving away from the tent, so you could see it kind of fading off, and it went off of, away from the tent. So that was pretty remarkable. And then it wasn't just me. We had other campers that had some lights, some orbs they were seeing, and live, that is. And then some interactions with some kind of creature that was just outside their tent. So, and this is the area, of course, where a lot of these pictures that I'm going to talk about tonight came from,
Now, do you get scared when you see the orbs and the lights when all that was going on? I mean, does it make you nervous at all?
No, because I've gotten used to it. It's not a one-time experience. If it was the only thing I've ever experienced, I think the first time would have been pretty traumatic. But this has been an ongoing event for me because I've seen portals in the past. I've seen orbs several times, very large ones. And I've seen the Bigfoot multiple times. So for me, it's business as usual.
Now, is it when you see this stuff, Samantha, is it in the same area each time or in different areas?
I tend to stay in this one area where we do a lot of our camping. There is another area, I call it the fortress, for reasons that when we tried to go deep into it, the wood log structures were all over the place. They were blocking the area almost like it was an area they don't want us to go past a certain point. They weren't put there by a road crew. It was too deep for humans to be pushing these logs down, but they created geometric patterns, very, very bizarre structures, A structures, X structures, and combinations thereof,
Oh, wow. Now, how many years have you been going in that area, and when did you first realize something was going on?
That particular area I was introduced to it from our Barb Shoup, who had the Barb and Gabby campouts. So she had her camp out there, and that's how I got introduced to that area. And we continue to have campouts there. But that's when I started discovering the entities like the little people and different things like that started showing up. So, but that's not the only area. I also go to an area called the Field of Dreams. This is a lot closer to where I live, and it has unusual properties. Very, very unusual things happen there all the time. And I think it's a very high vortex area, energy area, because that's where I saw the light portal, I saw the large orb, I saw a picture of an alien being, as well as the large Bigfoot that was up on the ridge. And I had numerous pictures of the littles, in that area too.
Oh, wow. Do you still go there quite often, even this time of year, or is it pretty much when the weather is good?
Yeah, it's starting to decline a little bit because I'm not really a big fan. I'm older as well, and so I'm not a big fan of really cold weather and stuff. So I've been going out driving out to certain places, to the fortress right now, because it'll get snowed in before long. So we won't be able to do anything at that point, So as soon as we're only 2 or 3 weeks away from snow coming in the area. So this is the time I'm going to consolidate all my research and pictures and continue to write the second book that I'm working on.
Oh, wow. Now, again, for the people realize when, Mary Joyce, a friend of mine, talks about little people in her area. They are probably in the neighborhood about 2 feet tall, Now, how big are these little people in your
It's
area?
like- yeah. These are little. These are a lot smaller. These are 2 to 3 inch, 4-inch variety.
Oh, wow.
I mean, we're talking. I'm having to say that there's different species of the humanoids that seem to run the gambit of much larger than us. Of course, if you put the Bigfoot in that category, the Sasquatch. You have humans, then you have. I mean, even within our own ranks, we have, the pygmies are just another offshoot. I mean, we're all part of the human race and everything, but there's different characteristics with different races, and some are shorter, some are larger, and things like that. So I tend to see that with the little people as well. They have their shorter versions of themselves, and they have different races within their own groups and things like that.
Well, I believe that because, like the findings of, giants and stuff that were killed off. There you had giants who were quite tall, huge. Then we had, from that, we went down to a human, and then I guess different sizes of like little people. Because I mean, in North Carolina, there's been reports of actually, when they were building one of the community colleges, they started unearthing skeletons, and they were actually, when they were tested, not baby skeletons, but they were fully developed skeletons, but they were ranging between about 1.5 feet to about 2 foot tall.
Yeah, the ones I've seen were very similar to the on the Disclosure Project by Dr. Stephen Greer, when they did the autopsy on that little man or that little being. Are you familiar with that?
A little bit, yes.
Yeah, the picture of that, if you ever come across that, it's the same size, virtually. About 6-7 inches tall. And so, of course, that probably was a tall adult, for that group. But I also see, I'm able to actually discern some are more human-looking, and others tend to have more of a Bigfoot look, kind of more gnomish. Some of them are more gnomish looking, and they seem to really run what mythology says, kind of these descriptions of each of these type of beings. They're out there, and I kind of see them in the pictures too.
When you have seen them out there, I mean, what were they doing? I mean, were they in the case like Mary Joyce has talked about, some of the big or not Bigfoot, but the little people were out in the woods, but they were not dressed. They were like running around naked. How about with what you've seen?
Oh, I've seen clothes on these guys. I have actually seen the most pronounced piece of clothing is the hats that I see them wearing. I've actually seen stylish hats on some of them. I've seen the clothing on the women. I've actually seen the hair, which seems to be styled a certain way. Well,
that sounds like they're way more advanced than the other part of the country. But again, maybe different areas and stuff. They be advancing. In different time frames, and